Now, you have just come back from Brighton. I'm trying to think what possible reason you could have had for being in Brighton this week.
A promenade. Just fancied a promenade, really. There's a lot of people walking up and down with red ties. It's a bit confusing. No, I was down there because I was wearing a number of hats down there. I was obviously down there.
You really were, literally.
Yeah. We'll get onto them because I know your listeners, some of your listeners will like that. Obviously, I was down there as a contributing editor for New Internationalist, so, we've been writing about it because there's some very interesting aspects of the Labour conference. But I was also a campaigner. So, and we're campaigning to challenge the enormous HS2 project. It's tripled in the amount of money they say it's going to cost. It's very, very likely it's going to get, hundreds of billions is what we're looking at. We just think the money could be spent much more wisely by improving the existing tracks rather than build a rich man's.
And who's we New Internationalists or the?
Oh no, not at all. No, different hat. Right. Stop HS2. So right. it's a loose campaigning group, and I'm connected to quite a lot of the local campaigners in London. I mean, loads of Londoners are very, very aware of this project. If you're living in Camden, you'll remember this fantastic headline, Camden New Journal, about a month ago, saying if you are in the area of the HS2 work, okay. We are asking you officially, this is the Camden Council, to close your windows for 17 years because of the sound and the pollution. That's pretty heavy duty. But anyway, let's talk about the hats. So we had this...
Hat number one.
Hat number one was an absolutely authentic 1973 British Rail driver's hat. I didn't know the details of how cool this hat was. One of the campaigners, her husband... has a real hobby for collecting uniforms, period uniforms. And it was a totally authentic British Rail 1973 outfit I was wearing. And I was being stopped by people from ASLEF and people from TSSA, absolutely delighted with what I was wearing. And they were going on for ages. But the little red strip you've got there, that makes you a junior. Yeah, but that was fascinating, being sort of brought up to date with the actual relevance of the outfit by all these people working in the rail unions. And I got to speak to Manuel Cortez. I managed to stop him, and he's not very happy, obviously. He's the head of the TSSA union, and they're totally keen on HS2. They're convinced it's a brilliant way to go forward.
Presumably. Because of the jobs.
Well, their argument is, of course, for jobs. But also, I totally sympathise to an extent with their situation. It's not just the jobs, it's this kind of huge investment in the rail doesn't happen usually. And of course, they're delighted. And because it's so rare, I can understand from their point of view, they're not going to go, well, thank you very much, but no. It's just
100 billion, should I say?
Well, yeah, okay. So the interesting sort of assessment that was given unofficially is by a guy who's one of his main jobs has been to kind of create cost assessments. So he's done it unofficially, and he put it at 110 billion.
Right. And who is he?
Yeah, he's got a very liberal
name. The government would obviously say it's nowhere near 100 billion.
Sorry, what the government says?
Would obviously say it would be nowhere.
No, they started in the 30s. They've gone up to 57 billion.
Yeah. So he's basically doubling the government estimate. Based on what knowledge? Based on what?
Yes, obviously, really important question. So his assessment is based on his experience, and his experience is he's one of the main cost assessments or cost analysts for the transport. However, he'd done it unofficially. He hadn't been paid by Transport to actually do that. Okay, so the Department of Transport have poo-pooed it, saying, that's just your assessment. But if you bear in mind what his job is, you can say it's fairly reliable, but it's not official.
And if it started at 30 and it's doubled to 60 already or 57, and if it doubled again, as it has done in history, he may be right. So we can balance possibly. That. Yeah, we can.
And the argument is from rail experts, and I've met loads because of this campaign. I've actually had an 84-year-old rail expert in tears about this project. They're saying, look, there are far wiser ways of spending this money, far wiser ways in terms of improving all the rail tracks that are existing. If you really want to help the North, rather than building a rich man's line from London to Birmingham, regenerate all the tracks that already exist in the North, okay? Obviously electrify them, and also open tracks that already exist. But, anyway, I won't bore you listeners with all the details.
What do you think then is the reason there is this, I don't want to call it an obsession, but some have this obsession with high-speed rail. Why do you think the government is, let's not use obsession, why are they so passionate about HS2?
That's a great question. I'll tell you, the Financial Times have been writing a lot about this recently. They're just very blatant about it. They go, it is a vanity project. MPs love to see something like a shiny high-speed train and go, I did that. And that's what the FT is saying, not any kind of unreliable source. They're convinced of that. And actually, people are interested in this. Look at stophs2.org. Just go there. The research done by Joe Rukin has been going on for ages, and it's fascinating. And there's a video that's on there that's come from a news source in Canada, I believe, and we only put it up recently, that shows all these high-speed projects around the world, and that argument about it's good for business is absolutely quashed in this film clip, because it shows all the projects and how it's actually not improved business for those cities it's gone to. It's very likely it might help London because you've got a 20-minute faster train going to Birmingham, but the economic argument's really spurious. But don't take it from me. Go out and look it up yourself. Because it's a lot of people who are taking these brilliant tickets from us. We're giving out these rail tickets that look like rail tickets, and they're full of detail about HS2. A lot of people are going, I've heard about it, but I haven't actually really thought about it. Thanks so much. And I'm not exaggerating. 80 to 90% of those people coming in and out of that conference who stopped to talk with us were going, I'm so against this.
And no doubt, somewhere hidden away, footage will emerge of you wearing said uniform, I hope, at some point in the future.
My impression from talking to Manuel Cortez, who's the head of TSSA, when he was that, look, this project, HS2, is just going to go through. And the indication is because it's good for my workers. And so always the problem has been with unions is the danger that they become completely focused on what's good for their members at the cost of whatever else. And that's always been a real problem. I really respect what unions do, but for them to have, when huge decisions like this are in place, the decisions must be by leaders must be made on the merits of the argument, not on keeping one union happy or another union happy.